Gather around. It's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Deseree.
All right, there were so many matches this year that were just too much.
So this won't be a shocker because we've had a handful of really awesome matches that we just can't stop talking about.
How many times have these guys fought? Like it's been quite a bit.
I've been saying this all year. They're just so great to watch. We saw the heel turn coming, and then when it happened, nice and bloody, both dramatic and beautiful.
You are now entering the ring with Chutes and Ladders podcast. Here are your hosts, Desiree and Jason.
Chutes and Ladders, DesMania experience. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree.
Alright, today this is all about Des. From legendary meetups to wild parties and the biggest stage in wrestling. Today we're breaking down the full WrestleMania week experience for Des. Des, talk to me. What are your initial thoughts?
The fact that I planned this only within weeks and got a really good deal on everything, I am still amazed. And I'm so happy that I went, and I don't regret anything.
I love it. All right. And just to kick things off, what made you say, you know what, I'm going to WrestleMania this year no matter what? Originally, when it was going to be in New Orleans, we both said, yes, we're in. They switched to Vegas. We both were hesitant. So what pushed you over?
It was just something in my gut was like, just go. Because I kept thinking about it. And I have this thing with myself, if it keeps coming to my mind, there's a reason why I'm being pushed to do it. And it's, it could be multiple reasons, but deep down, I wanted to go. There was nothing holding me back except just the price behind it. I had the PTO. Immediately when WrestleMania dates are released, I immediately take a week off of work. And that's like a year ahead when I plan my PTO. So I already had the week off. I have money set aside. I just couldn't give any kind of reason behind the current money, or at least the price of that one ticket. It wasn't travel or anything like that. It was the physical WrestleMania ticket. But on Steve Austin Day, on March 16th, they did a 31.6% discount. And I'm at work scrolling through Ticketmaster, and I'm just like, you know what? These seats that I saw made sense. I was like, I can justify 2 days of this. I text my friend who usually goes to matches with me, and I'm like, what are your thoughts on this? Does this make sense? And she goes, you know what? I'm going to go with you. So I was like, done. So we booked the tickets, and the seats weren't bad at all. The price still could have been better, but I did not feel like I was wasting money on it. So I was like, let's go. And then within a week, our hotel, flights, everything was booked.
I love it. Sounds like it was meant to be. Now, on the topic of a hotel, were you able to stay in the same hotel as wrestlers? Did you run into a lot of them? Let's talk about that experience.
I did not. Had I planned ahead of time and bought a couple of packages, or because mind you, I booked everything 3 weeks before WrestleMania, so a lot of hotels were booked. And what I was originally looking at was MGM Grand, and that's where they were staying as well. And it was in a close walk to Allegiant Stadium. But that was the prices that I looked at the time of booking was like $1,000 a night, and I was like, I can't. No, we're not going to do that. And so I actually stayed next door at New York. It wasn't bad at all. It was a decent hotel, and it was connected to the MGM Grand, so I was right next door, and I got it for like a quarter of the price.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And so instead of paying, $1,000 a night, I also stayed with my friend, so we split it. And for 5 days, we ended up paying just $1,200 total, so a good $600 split. Can't beat that. So, but yeah, MGM was full of wrestlers. I ran into a couple. I left them alone. I wasn't gonna sit there and bombard them during their downtime, or at least cause any kind of, I guess, distraction to other people. One thing I did notice was in the lobby, because I would have to go through the lobby to get to the tram, to go to different places through Vegas, was there was a lot of fans just hiding out in the lobby. And I'm sure y'all saw a lot of reports and a lot of articles where security was low, and the wrestlers were just getting completely just bombarded and harassed at one point. But I would see people by the door. Granted, the lobby is pretty decent and it's for public. You see, they can't really tell them to get out, but they're standing there with cameras and merch, just waiting by the elevators for them to come out. And I find that so distasteful. Like, there is a difference between seeing someone and recognizing them and making eye contact or saying a quick hi, to physically chasing them around the casino, especially when they're with their kids, their family. They only have, they're working, so this is probably like their little break of time. And I know they want to be nice to the fans, but leave them alone. So I saw a couple, and I made eye contact with them, and I went, "Oh, that's so and so. That's so and so," and then I just kept walking. I'm not gonna mess with them.
Who were some of those wrestlers?
I saw Kendall Gray, who I really love, from NXT. I saw, who was it, Sheamus, and a couple of other people I can't remember, but I just remember seeing them out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh, there they are, and I'm not gonna mess with them.
Listen, as someone who used to sell memorabilia, I understand those type of people, because instead of actually making purchases, what they would do is they would literally stock athletes, celebrities, etc. They have Facebook groups. It's kind of disturbing, so I definitely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was just annoying because every day it got worse and worse, and they were complaining. And I'm sure we saw all on social media with Punk and Drew and Randy and other people complaining, like, leave us alone, give us space. And they would not leave them alone.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, all right, I'm not. Yeah, I know. Well, and I'm kind of curious on as far as traveling. I mean, talk to me about talk to me about the journey. Was it smooth? Was it kind of chaotic? I know there's a lot of people going into Vegas. Talk to me about it.
It wasn't bad at all. I'm someone that is very type A with traveling, and I prefer to be the first flight out, just so I can limit delays and any kind of issues. I left at 5 o'clock in the morning, out of Jacksonville, first flight out. We had a connecting flight in Houston, and then it jumped on to a flight to Vegas. So we got in around 10 o'clock a.m. Vegas time. And as soon as we got off the plane, it was just WrestleMania everywhere. Fans were everywhere already. There was people already camped out waiting for people, other wrestlers and talent, at the airport. Just, leave those guys alone. And luckily, got a taxi 10 minutes away, checked into our hotel. I was a little frantic that day just because we had a flight coming in at 10 o'clock in the morning, but we also had planned meet and greets at WWE World at 1 p.m. So we weren't sure that our hotel was going to be ready. And in my head, I'm like, I have to get ready and look good for pictures. I have to, I need to have my time. And luckily, everything worked in my favor. We got off the plane. Luggage was great. Nothing happened to my stuff. Checked into the hotel immediately. Was able to change, freshen up my makeup, and got down to the convention center right on time. So smooth. And on the way back, we did have a 45-minute delay. But that's typical because it was an afternoon flight. And let me tell you, I have TSC pre-check, and we had a long line. It was 30 minutes to go through that. But besides that, everything was fine. It could have been worse. So very thankful.
All right. Well, and you mentioned meet and greets. Let's talk about that, because anyone that follows you on social media, we were able to see some of these meet and greets. It definitely looked like dreams were made true. Talk to us about that.
You know, at one point I was like, I'm okay with not going to WrestleMania because of who I met. At WWE World, they do have meet and greets and they have autographs. My main one was Randy Orton, and I had to get in line for the pre-sale during work, and my friend and I like double teamed the line. Luckily, for some reason, I was like maybe number 200 in line when there was like 10,000 people in line. And I immediately got my picture for Randy. I got back in line and got Rhea. And I was like, my day is complete. So, and then like a week later, you know, I was always thinking to myself, I was like, if only I could meet Shawn. I know he's going to be there. Why wouldn't he not do it? And then I get an alert on my phone that Shawn Michaels was added to the roster. I flip out. I immediately get it, thinking that everyone is going to want Shawn Michaels autograph or just meet and greet, period. No, I was wrong because they don't understand legends. And I got him too. So Thursday. And mind you, I have 10 minutes in between pictures with Rhea and Randy. So I'm panicking because I don't want to miss out on these. And I paid a good amount of money to meet both of these people. Luckily, everything, again, worked out in my favor. I was at the front of the line for Rhea and then immediately ran back in line for Randy. But Rhea, she is just an angel. So sweet. It was rather quick just because the line it was just ridiculous. But I would peep through the curtain just to see how she was with people, and I ran and gave her a hug and told her I loved her so much and I couldn't wait to see her win this weekend. And the picture turned out great. And then with Randy, I had a panic attack as I was in line, nervous, and he was in the zone. We'll just say it that way. Just a fist bump and a hey, how's it going kind of thing. So it wasn't as personal, but I get it. So, you know, either way, I got to meet Randy and I got a really great picture. And then Shawn on Friday. I had like a little breakdown in the line because I was so excited because it finally hit me that I was going to meet.
Like teeter breakdown?
Yes.
Aww.
It was. And you know why? It's because I love this man. Anyone who knows me knows it's Randy Savage or Shawn Michaels. Obviously, I won't ever get the privilege of meeting Randy, but I will get... in my head, I was like, Shawn will be my end-all, be-all. And he never does meet and greets anymore. It's very rare that you get this. And it hit me. I was like, this may be the last time. But I never thought in a million years I would ever get to meet him. And luckily, there was a guy in line with me explaining to his wife the importance of it, of how special this is. Because he was like, you don't ever get to see Shawn. You never get to meet Shawn. This is huge. You should be taking advantage of this and understand like how exciting this is. And then that brought tears to my eyes because I'm like, he gets it. But I recovered and I walked in and I gasped and he grabbed my hand. And I said, I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. I said, I have loved you my entire life. And, you know, and he was just like petting my hand. And he was like, thank you, dear. And I'm like, ah. But the picture turned out great. Those were my meet and greets that I paid for. We had other ones, but those are the three that just made my day, made my weekend. And I was like, I don't care if I meet anybody else. My life is done.
That's so awesome. No, listen, you know what? If anyone deserves it, it's you. I'm so happy for you. And now let's talk about SmackDown and Raw. So sandwich in between WrestleMania was SmackDown and Raw. You went to both, which was great. Talk to me about that. Talked about the Hall of Fame experience. Just talking about everything.
Yeah, so Friday obviously was SmackDown. New York, our hotel is connected to the arena, the T-Mobile Arena. So we were very fortunate where we only had to come down our elevator and then get back on an escalator. And it was maybe not even a 5-10 minute walk. So spoiled. And we did have a hiccup with our combo tickets. It was a resale and ended up being a scam. So be very careful. We got to SmackDown, no issues, great seats. We were in like section 100, right above the floor, and it was amazing. And then we noticed our tickets no longer said combo, and went to the box office, and they're like, yeah, these are only for SmackDown. We're like, no, we bought combo tickets. They're like, nope. So we had to figure out within 2 days how we were going to make it to Raw, and we were like, we'll figure it out. But Raw, amazing, or SmackDown was great. We didn't make it to Hall of Fame. That was completely separate, but that was at an arena right across the street. So I watched it from my hotel, but there were tons of people out there. We didn't make it to that, but that was okay. But for Monday, we tried to dispute it. It's still under investigation, even though we have proof that the person purposely sold it as a combo but only released the SmackDown ticket. So we'll know in a couple of weeks if we get our money back, but shame on you. But we lucked out and got floor seats. And I think it was one of the best seats I've had. And it wasn't hard cam, it was right behind. So we were where the cameras were. So we had a great view of the wrestlers and the show, and I had to go to Raw because there's nothing bigger than the Raw after WrestleMania. So it was, to be honest, I really preferred Raw over WrestleMania. Hate to say it, but that's how good it was. And yeah, it was pretty awesome. Made friends with the cameraman, and yeah, just met some people. We got to see the Bellas and Paige walk by us. A handful of wrestlers were just walking right behind me, and I'm like, hey. So it was great. It was a great time.
And you know what? One thing I will say, when I went to the Raw the night after WrestleMania, I can vouch for that because that was one of the most electric Raws of all time.
Crazy.
The Rock was out there for about 45 minutes. He probably was only supposed to be there for about 15. The entire crowd was chanting yes the entire time. That was the official yes movement because everyone was so mad about the night before how Daniel Bryan didn't get an actual match. And literally the entire event, every single match, they were screaming yes, yes, yes. In the dark match, Sheamus kind of looks around and he was just shaking his head saying, yeah, we can't, there's nothing we can do. Like, this is all about Daniel Bryan. So
yeah,
the real Yes-O-Mania was when it was WrestleMania 28 and the Miami crowd stepped up, and he actually is very public about how Miami really put him over.
See, Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania, I think, is the place to be.
100%. All right, let's talk about now WrestleMania, night 1 and night 2. What stood out for both these nights? Did it deliver overall?
Okay. I will say Allegiant Stadium was very organized. We Ubered there, got out, the check, like going through bag check and ticket check, everything was fine. We had seats on the risers, which was not part of the stadium, so they build that in. So you don't have the best seats, like the comfortable seats, you get just regular chairs. But we are eye level, so we're right above the floor. So I enjoyed my view. This is actually a picture that I took. So that was my view for the entrance, and then I could see everyone coming out, and then I can see the ring. So it was really great. I couldn't complain with what I got. And I'm going to be honest, how much I paid. I think I paid, I think it was about $1,200, $1,300. So $500-$600 for both nights each. So not terrible. This also came with the club pass. So we had a special entrance, bathrooms, we had food and drinks, not all part of, like, we had to pay for it, but it was our own private area, which was great too. So we didn't have to be roaming around the arena to get to stuff. But people were great. The people around us, for the most part, were decent. But the show itself, it was just kind of like I had to take a step back and be like, I'm at WrestleMania. So there were a couple of times where I was like, just enjoy it. And So yeah, it felt like a regular show. I'm going to be honest. And one thing was the ads. We also got ads. So we did have some fun in the crowd, like they normally do during regular weekly tapings, but they were playing ads on the screen. And what's so funny is there were some guys behind me that have gone years back to back, and they would stand up thinking that someone was going to come out and we were going to start another match, and then a commercial would come on and they would sit there and scream. They're like, "Are you kidding me? You know, another ad, another commercial?" They're like, "This has never happened." And so I was like, okay, so this isn't an ordinary thing, because I was just like, okay, because I'm used to watching it on TV, so commercial after commercial, and they're like, this doesn't happen. So wow. Yeah. So besides that, it was okay. I'm gonna be honest, this was not the best WrestleMania ever. I thought there were going to be some surprise entrances, maybe a couple of people from our past. It was great to see John Cena, but he was very like corporate John Cena. You know, with my heartbreak with Randy not winning, that also was a letdown. But night 2 was a lot better. The energy was better. The matches were better. So I feel like that made up for it. So yeah, I mean, I don't hate that I went. I can be honest with myself and say this was not the best WrestleMania, and that's okay. I'm glad I still went.
Yeah, and I will say I'm sorry that it wasn't a step up, because I will say WrestleMania 28 was fully electric. I will say 24 was solid too. I mean, that was Ric Flair's last match. Undertaker won the title. I mean, it was really, really good, but WrestleMania 28, I mean, objectively, I think it's pretty much in the top 10. That was special. So yeah. I'm definitely fortunate. But you know what? Regardless, it's like you said, you went. That's most important.
Right.
All right, now let's talk about Gronk's pool party. All right, let's be honest. Was this just an ultimate vibe? Was it overhyped? Talk to me.
Okay, let's be honest here. I am almost 39 years old. I have not gone to a club since we went to FSU or in my early 20s. I am not a club goer, and I'm not a big drinker. I will be honest. I am not a party girl anymore. Have not been in over 10 plus years. So I knew this was not going to be my vibe, but I was like, I'm in Vegas. We got a decent deal on it, and we got a private table, like VIP. So let's just go and see how it is. It's Gronk. He's crazy. And we were, who was it? Trick, Lash, and Tiffany were going to be there. Those were the confirmed people. So I was like, worst case scenario, I just show up and hang out at my table, have a drink or two. You know, people watch and see, you know, the new champions. You know, so we get there. It's at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. Very nice. We get our table. Drinks are everywhere. You get a fun DoorDash. It was, I guess, sponsored by DoorDash and a couple of other things. So you walk through and it's nothing but like PR stuff, and you get a bag full of stuff, and you know, beautiful women everywhere pouring your drinks, and you know, Gronk just walks by my table, and I'm like, oh, hello. And then his girlfriend Camille, who I think she is stunning. She walks by too, so I'm more after her than I am Gronk. Yeah, it was fun. We got to meet some random people that were in our surrounding tables, and you know, find out why they were there, because this was more of, you know, a WrestleMania party. So we're like, hey, were you at WrestleMania? And they're like, no, we were here for a tech convention and just found out there was a party. And I was like, okay. And it was a mix of people. We had some older people, we had some younger people in their 20s, and some partiers. So it was fun. It was, I think it was because I had a long day too. I was mentally prepared because, mind you, I'm still on East Coast time, and WrestleMania got out at like 8. We had to walk back, get ready, get a snack, and then go to a pool party that didn't start until 10:30 p.m., which was like, what, 1 o'clock in the morning Florida time. And so I need my sleep. So I was just like really talking myself up. I was like, you're gonna have fun. So I had a couple of drinks, and it was just fun to watch Trick come out. Oba came out too. Would I do it again? Maybe not. I would probably go to a different party, because at that same time there was like a DJ Polly D other party club thing, and then they had another kind of after party. So we had different options. This was the first one that we saw. So and plus it wasn't bad for our deal. Like for women, I didn't realize that there's a different cover charge or whatever for men and women going to these parties, and we got a deal. I think it was like $50-$60 for a private table for us, for unlimited drinks and whatever.
Yeah, that's stealing in Vegas, no doubt.
Like 2. So I was like, yeah, why aren't we not getting a private table than sitting in the crowd? Well, we could go out there anytime we want, but come sit down where it's nice and clean and just drinks everywhere. So yeah, it was a steal. Would I do it again? I don't know, maybe not.
Totally understand. Definitely sounds like fun. All right, and let's talk about other activities. What's something people don't talk about during WrestleMania week that ends up being a gem?
There's nonstop wrestling everywhere. I think that's what people don't realize. There is WWE World, which I think everyone should go to. It's very expensive to get in if you pay daily, like myself. I paid for 3 days. And
how much is it?
It ranges from $70 to $100 a day.
Wow.
But let me tell you, you do get what they call autograph or like superstar row. So they pick 3 to 4 stars every few hours, and you go up there and take pictures and get autographs for free. So I got to meet Kiana, Apollo Crews, Lillian Garcia. One letdown was I waited in line to meet Grayson Waller, and he did not show up. So I was like, I waited an extra like 45 minutes for him because I really wanted to meet him. And I was like, in true Grayson fashion, of course, he's the one that no-shows. So he better have a good excuse. But he did show up on, he did have a match on SmackDown. So I will give him some grace there. So maybe that's why. But besides that, everyone else showed up. I got to meet, who was it? Sean Spears, Dragon Lee, a couple of other people. And there was different exhibits. There was a Hulk Hogan experience, which I really liked. They did a big wall for him. They did the Hall of Fame inductees area. There was a Mattel section, which I went crazy for. It was the coolest thing. And their merch, everything. I bought everything. So I say, if you can go to that, go to it. They even had matches. They did podcasts there. I mean, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, everybody was out there. And that's where the meet and greets are as well. So I think if you can go 1 or 2 days, go.
Love it.
Yeah, but besides that, they had WrestleCon for people that were not WWE affiliated. They had other matches at other hotels. They had free meet and greets at certain bars that were sponsored by like Wheatley Vodka. So they had Tiffany Stratton, LA Knight, Trick Williams, a handful of actual huge superstars that you could just get in line and meet for free as long as you met them in that time frame. So there are things that you can do that is affordable.
All right. And Des, now it's time for Fast Count. We're rolling the dice because we're in Vegas. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Roughly, how much total did you have to spend?
Are we including like food and drinks and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll break it down. I paid, let's say, $1,300 for my tickets, $600 for my hotel, $500 for my flight. I probably about $400 in food and drinks. I didn't eat a lot. It's weird. And I spent, if we're including my meet and greets, I spent about $600 in meet and greets.
So we're talking about closer to $3,500?
Yeah, and I spent $250 on merch.
Okay, so we're going close to 4K. Listen, you deserve it. You work very hard.
I will make this clear to everybody. It's really no one's, like, people can say what they want about money, but it's really no one's business. It was my choice. But I will make it clear, I am single. I am not married, no ties. I have no children, no major bills, and I have a full-time job outside of this. So this is what I spend my money on. I don't do anything crazy. Yeah, I spend my money on food and clothes and wrestling. So let me live my life.
Amen. You deserve it. All right, one word to describe your WrestleMania 42 experience.
Spiritual.
Best live crowd reaction that you witnessed.
It was 100% Oba winning.
Most overrated part of WrestleMania week.
I mean, it was just the hype of WrestleMania itself. Like, I just feel like they were like, oh, this is like the number one WrestleMania of all time and this and that. I'm like, well, it's the most successful because you overcharged everybody. So I think it was that. They were like hyping it up saying this is the best WrestleMania. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
All right. Most underrated hidden gem of WrestleMania week.
It was the weekly shows. It was SmackDown and Raw. Those were just electric.
All right. Would you do it again? Yes or no?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Awesome. All right. And now moving on to final thoughts. Look, we talked about this for a long time. You were definitely wanting to go. We're almost 2 years into our podcast. Just give me your final thoughts.
I love this. I am so happy that I went. It was a journey. I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of other fans, even people from across the world traveled to this. So it was just really neat to be around the people that understood what I love so much. I would 100% do it again, and hopefully it's in a different city this time. I can't wait to go to it again. But hey, you know what? I've got a couple of more matches to go to this year, so I can't wait to cover those.
That actually wraps up this episode of DesMania. Did you go to WrestleMania? Do you have experiences that you want to share with us? Shoot us a DM at the Shoots and Ladders. Like always, please like, share, and subscribe both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Deseree Josen.
All right, until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Have a great week. Bye, friends.
This has been Shoots and Ladders. Follow us for more content.